Hello, everyone. This is Mayfield coming to you today, and thank you so much for tuning into the broadcast today. You can find me on many search engines across the network, just Raymond Mayfield, and many of those, and you can pull up a lot of my videos. I want to talk about Genesis chapter 2 today. In Genesis 2 and verse number 1, it says, "Now at last the heavens and the earth were successfully completed with all of that they contain," according to the Living Bible. In verse 2, God ceased from the work he had been doing, and God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because it was a day that he ceased from all of his labors and all from his creation. And this is called the Sabbath day. Then there is a summary of the things that God created in this particular chapter. Then in verse number 8, God planted a garden, and it was called a Garden of Eden to the east, and he placed it in the garden a man who he had formed by himself. And you know that's great. God created man. God created you. God doesn't create anything that's bad. God's creation was good, and he made man. We did not come from anywhere but the creation of God. Don't anyone ever tell you you're any different. We are created in the image of God. There are all sorts of beautiful trees there, and produced the choicest fruit in that Garden of Eden. At the center of the garden, he placed a tree of life, and that was a wonderful tree. And the tree of knowledge of good and evil was one that later on we'll find out that the fruit shouldn't have been eaten from that tree. God created a beautiful river in order for the water to water the garden, and the river went out to Eden, where it departed, and the four river heads went downstream, and tells us that these rivers went to in verses 10 through 14. The Garden of Eden must have been a real beautiful place. Genesis 2 and 18, "Now the Lord said, it is not good, sufficient or satisfactory, that a man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet, suitable and adaptable and complementary for him," in the Amplified Bible. And of course, God is talking about giving Adam a wife that would be a helpmate to him. Then God brought all the livestock to Adam so that he could recognize and name them. And then in Genesis 2:21, "And the Lord caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam where he slept. He took one of his ribs, or a part of his side, and closed up the place with flesh," according to the Amplified Bible. And God used this method to create a woman. And Adam said, "This now is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh." And he called her a woman, because she was taken from man. And God said in verse 24, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother, and shall cleave unto his wife." And Adam and Eve were both naked, and were not embarrassed whatsoever, because they did not know the difference at this point. We have in this a wonderful study about the beautiful Garden of Eden that God had created. And that's going to be kind of like the millennial reign that's going to be on the earth, when all the lions will lay down with a kid. All the earth is going to be at rest and peace. That was like it was in the Garden of Eden. Everything was perfect till the old serpent come walking through there. And then we find the wonderful creation of a woman that God gave man for his very helpmate, to be close to his side, taken from a rib that would be close to his heart. I'm so glad that God has given me a wonderful wife of 52 years. It's a wonderful blessing of God, and we need to thank God that we are his creation. Thank God for all of you that listen today, and I'll be talking to you again real soon.